Yeah, it's FU Friday.
FU Friday. Welcome
It's time.
back to another episode of Go FUD Yourself. Apparently, it's FU Friday, episode 77 today.
I can't believe you forgot.
Yeah, you know what? Every day is kind of the same around here lately. There's no such thing as a weekend other than
No, there is not.
other than the playoff finals start tomorrow. So let's go Panthers. Anyways, what are we talking about today?
Okay, so even though it's FU Friday, we're actually going to start with something that's like a little bit of a good-natured news story, and then maybe some good-natured news that says FU to someone else. Then we're just going to get into the super FUD. We have some more conspiracy theories out of China. We have Hong Kong's new crypto rules and how people are not necessarily responding as well to them as you would expect. The digital yuan might be dead. And then there's, some anti-Musk stuff, some anti-AI stuff. That's our favorite. Let's go for it.
We're just going to shit on everybody today. Let's do it. Quick shout out. This is one of my favorite shirts just because it's kind of got the
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's just a cool art style and kind of interesting, but you can't really see it on camera. And I don't want to lift up my shirt too far. There we go. It's Moon Sama, Public Pressure, and Kilt. So thanks to all three of those peeps. It's one of my favorite shirts. Probably not the best quality shirt, but I just love the graphics. So they win. We'll give it an 8 out of 10, mainly on style.
All right.
Anywho, all right, let's freaking
rock and roll.
Go. Key Doki.
It doesn't want you to speak. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm being censored on Twitter. Kind of like Matt Walsh and What is a Woman yesterday.
It's my usual jam is censoring you on Twitter.
Yeah, I get that a lot, actually. What?
I don't know.
Space ended.
It's not supposed to end. I don't know why it's being all weird.
Uh-oh. Okay, I'll request
No, this is on me. This is on me.
It's all good. Our normal producer is at a wedding today, so we're really doing this ourselves today.
I am struggling.
Okay.
Why
well, can I not?
I don't know.
Speak?
Well, do you even have the space? Because it told me that it died.
Yeah, I'm there now.
Twitter won't even load for me. Oh my god.
Okay. Well, you know what? Forget it.
Today, no spaces.
We were not meant to stream to Twitter Spaces today. Anyways, welcome back. Episode 77. Super excited. I heard a little birdie told me that episode 100 might be a big deal. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe. When is it? When is 100? July 5th?
Yeah, I think it's the Wednesday of July.
Yeah, and obviously July 4th.
The Wednesday of July.
Is a big deal here. So
yeah, well, so we might actually, do we have to push the 100 off if you're going to take?
No. We got 100 scheduled uses why they're not going to be there, even though it's the middle of July or beginning of July.
Whatever, we don't take holidays.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to pull up that old clip of Bolin. Over Christmas, I said, hey, Bolin from DFK, do you have any Christmas vacation plan? And he burst out laughing. That was his response.
Wait, vacation? What?
I thought that was such a good response. Okay, we are going to just chat all day. So, good news. We have maybe a new social platform because I'm totally not managing enough social platforms as it is, both for myself and every brand we've ever had.
I think
it's called Fireside Forum. It's by Pi Network. This is actually really interesting. So the idea is that they don't want it to be algorithmic. They want it to be people-driven. And it will have tokenomics built in so that they try to control fake news and trolls and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot like reputation power, but on a social platform. And there's another super interesting element to this, which is that you'll essentially have to purchase tokens, which will allow you to post. But the more people interact with your post in a positive way, the more tokens you get back. So then eventually it's free for you to post, but the idea is to disincentivize you just shit posting or posting nonsense or that kind of thing.
Yeah. This is interesting. I think that, to get rid of centralization of moderation, I think is probably not a horrible thing, right? Because if you get enough people that are contributing. Generally speaking, the law of large numbers suggests that you'll see a natural distribution that would represent the general public. So I'm a huge fan of this type of approach to moderation. In the past, it's been very difficult to get enough people to actually give a shit and pay attention to this stuff. But when there's a monetary incentive, such as tokens, then usually you can motivate people to do things in different ways. My concern here is the same as like when you look at like Step In and a whole bunch of these other like Move to Earn or is you have to have, and I haven't looked deep enough. I don't even know if they've released the tokenomics. I haven't seen them, but there has to be something to offset the inevitable sell pressure of all the people dumping those tokens that they get for moderating. Totally. So whatever that is, like in theory, it sounds on the surface like that they're expecting that the offsetting buy pressure for other people to post will offset the sell pressure because you need tokens to post, et cetera, et cetera. That in the past hasn't quite been enough because there's generally more people selling at peak times, and if the price gets too high, then people just don't buy. And so we have to see how that kind of plays out, but I think it's a really cool concept, and I do think that we're gonna see more of these startups. I mean, Lens, there's a whole bunch of things being built on Lens, which I think is also another iteration of this concept, sort of
and there's Web 5.
Yeah, and there's
is this where we get to FU Friday?
Yeah, FU Dorsey, and your fucking Web 5. We're currently on 3. Can't skip 4.
You can just skip 4. That's not fair. Because now he's implying that someone else has to build 4. And
every building in North America is a giant lie. They skip 13. So apparently, objective truth doesn't matter anymore because there's no floor.
Has it ever since the?
Apparently not. Anyway, so FU Dorsey,
okay.
But
that's what this came down.
I like FUing to Dorsey. To his credit, he's done some really cool shit.
He totally has. He
started Twitter. He started Twitter, which for like a decade was really awesome, and then just became really shitty in the last few years, and now it's hopefully getting back to normal.
It's getting to normal. They have new goals, which I think is good because it's not being used for what it was originally intended for, right? Yeah, anyways, Fireside Forum.
Fireside Forum.
I like the idea. I like the concept too that it's not going to be algorithmic, like it'll be entirely person driven, but I also don't see that being highly successful. I think you're just going to then get the feedback loop, right?
Yeah.
But most of the algorithms that we have now also provide the feedback loop. So I don't know.
I guess we'll find out. This next one is interesting. So I've actually had quite a few conversations about not this particular platform, but platforms such as this recently, like these wallets that are raising exorbitant amounts of money. Like $52 million for a wallet is a lot of freaking money. So I'm especially one that most people haven't heard of. And so it's interesting to see, like, first of all, to raise $52 million, you had to have an exorbitant valuation for a product that is unknown currently. So this is kind of surprising. I'm assuming this round must have started a long time ago.
Well, I was also thinking that it could have been impacted by some of the recent security issues with Ledger, and wasn't there another wallet hack? And last year, March, MetaMask's whole sharing your IP thing. Anyways, I'm saying that if they are actually a passwordless true authentication platform that PayPal would be able to integrate, that doesn't have these security risks that have already been identified. This is kind of the second mover advantage we were talking about yesterday. Maybe it is worth that.
Yeah, this is worth watching. Aman at PayPal Ventures is a really smart dude. And he has a really good pulse on kind of where things are going. I've always admired some of the investments they make because they always seem to be pretty bang on. So again, I can't fault this. I think, wallet technology is important. Where I struggle and where these conversations have been somewhat circular is it's really difficult to build in meaningful profitability into a wallet. Generally speaking, if you're like, you can do what MetaMask has done and create an aggregator, but pretty quick, that's going to be a totally different game. You can't just throw up an aggregator once things are regulated. Then you need custody and money transmission, and you need a whole bunch of things, broker dealer, ATS, you need a bunch of shit. Well, maybe not all of those things for a simple aggregator, but you need a bunch of shit to be able to do that. And so that business model in my opinion, is a bit challenging, where use our wallet or a lot of platforms like app-specific chains and stuff are the wallets aren't versatile enough. None of them. MetaMask, there's tons of wallets. MetaMask, Coinbase Wallet, all the ones on Wallet Connect. Like they all have some advantages and disadvantages, but none of them are super flexible, and that's the problem. So there's other people that are coming out with wallet infrastructure that's kind of like Lego blocks that are really cool. Platform called Guardian Labs. Some of the guys from Snickerdoodle moved over and did that. Anyways, this is interesting. It's nice to see that people are raising money. I'm curious to see how this plays out. I'm a fan of PayPal's investments generally, but I think 52 million is like kind of insane. It's a lot of money. I want to see what they're doing. Yeah, it better be amazing.
That's what I mean. I'm gonna have to switch, I guess. All right, are you ready for some FUD about the crypto arms race?
Yeah.
Hong Kong is doing some things, a lot of things. So basically, Hong Kong announced that they were going to have new licensing rules. It was announced in mid-May that it would come into play late May, which is not a lot of time. But the idea is that they wanted to have everything in place for June 1st, and then you have a year to transition. So you have a year to get the license, and you have a year to start practicing, and so on and so forth. So it's not so ridiculous. It's not like you had 14 days to comply. You have about a year to comply, but you only had like a month to kind of get your poop in a group. So there's a lot of things that are going on here. One is that it seems great. There can be retail trading in Hong Kong. However, the regulations are really limiting on the tokens.
Yeah.
Top and 30, their security. Right? Top 20.
I thought it was top 30. It says top 30 in the.
Oh, I'm wrong then.
The original banner. Anyways, doesn't matter. Yeah, that's really important. And I think, as a regulator or as a jurisdiction, you think, okay, that encompasses the vast majority of real trading volume, most likely, which is probably true. There's a lot of trading volume on the top 30 assets, of course. But there's also a lot of interest on many, many, many more than top 30. There's a lot of very solid projects in the top 100. There's a lot of solid projects in the top 3, 4, 500. So anyways, this I hope is just one step, and they find ways to identify more of the tokens, and it's not a one-off. Every token has to be approved, because that'll be a freaking nightmare. But anyways,
okay, and then the companies that are applying is also really interesting. So you have ones that you would expect, like Gate, right? Yeah. I would anticipate that Gate would be over there. Huobi, I think I'm saying that right. I don't know anything about MintMex, but they're a big one on the list as well. OKX, but then banks. So Hong Kong's largest digital bank is ZA Bank, and then I couldn't actually find the name. ZA. And then I couldn't actually find the pronunciation for it, but there's a Chinese bank that's also looking to get this retail trading license. And so it's interesting to think that it isn't actually just crypto retailers, but it's banks who are thinking within the next year, I need to be participating in this as well.
Yeah, I think that, that's probably pretty important. If when regulations go in, the people that are planning to deal better get on board. But I'm not really ready to completely FU Hong Kong on this one, because I think it's at least a step in the right direction. And there's some interesting things that these articles didn't report on. They're also regulating how hedge funds work and how investment funds work and all of those things, which I think is also promising, because it allows venture capital, maybe not through exchange transactions, but it allows venture capital in different ways flowing from China via Hong Kong. Which I think is pretty interesting, because it's been a challenge until now, taking money for a lot of companies from Asian investors, from Chinese investors in particular.
So to help with that, there's also kind of a new consortium association committee that's been put together. I don't know if you had time to read about this one, because I just found it right before the show. But the Hong Kong Licensed Virtual Assets Association, which is a wild acronym that does not help, and the Web3 Harbor. So basically, these two groups have gotten together, and it doesn't exactly say that they're going to be lobbying, but I think that is kind of where they're getting at. They'll be doing joint research, educational programming, community activities. They're basically going to be onboarding people into digital assets. I see that both being crypto and potentially digital, like the CBDC, right? Digital fiat, or maybe other virtual lending, what you were just talking about, hedge funds, etc. So I think that this is like a pretty broad scope, but I do anticipate there'll be lobbying regulations.
Yeah, I think if I had to guess kind of where they were trying to go with this, there's going to be a whole new market of service providers as soon as regulation comes up, like people helping with kind of what broker dealers or large investment banks did in the past for TradFi. You know, you had to do your listings. There's a bunch of nonsense. There's a bunch of advisors and consultants and people that you hire, which is part of the problem, which is why it's so expensive and takes so long and so on. But you're going to see a lot of that. You're also going to see a lot of people jockeying to try to create SROs, self-regulatory organizations, kind of like FINRA in the US. Because if they get SRO status, they're incredibly powerful in terms of their influence. So I think this, to me, seems like a fairly healthy and obvious move towards being an SRO. Let's first add value. Let's support everybody. Let's do education and research. Let's become an authority, a respected authority on the space. And then hopefully, as these opportunities for service businesses to evolve, these guys will be at the front of the line. So it's actually smart. I think it's good in most cases. I just hope it doesn't turn into a daisy chain of consultants and advisors that are needed, because that's the problem in traditional finance, and it's expensive.
Hey, so you know how when you read all these articles, they talk about how Hong Kong is probably going to lead the crypto revolution into China, and how China is maybe looking more lax on crypto. Do you remember that? Do you remember reading that yesterday?
I think it was
2 days ago.
A couple days ago.
And then do you remember that the multi-chain CEO got arrested? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, maybe nobody really knows. There was no follow-up today that I could find anywhere on that either.
There wasn't, except that some other people got arrested. So those who are, so CNHC is the digital yuan-backed stablecoin, and basically the people who run that got arrested yesterday. Yeah. I don't have more information than that. Just,
I mean, typical, like. This is pretty normal for China, at least the way that it's reported to us. It always seems kind of confusing. And as soon as you think you have, I think that's part of their MO, to be honest, is to imply that things are random and just keep everybody on their toes and never really knowing what's happening. The thing is, I mean,
fear tactics, right?
Well, yeah.
But just like our headlines, which I mean.
Same shit. But if you live in China, like, first of all, if you live physically in China, don't start a crypto business, in my opinion, right now. Like, this has been going on since the beginning of crypto, where like crypto people disappear, people get arrested, and not to say that these people are squeaky clean and it's just the government being tyrannical.
Yeah, I don't know.
It could actually likely be the other way around. It could be that these people, in fact, are doing weird shit, and this is just how it's getting communicated to us, that mysteriously they disappeared. When in actuality, everybody in China knows what happened. They were whatever, doing some fraud or something. I don't know anything about CNHC or whether they're legit or not. Obviously, I have no interest in the digital yuan, so not a big fan. But I mean, typical China FUD.
Well, it's super funny because it's like, did you know that the CEO of Multichain maybe got arrested? Well, these other people did get arrested, and they're both Chinese, so they must work together.
Yeah, they must all be in cahoots.
Yeah, like, obviously not. But do you think this will be kind of like the end of the digital yuan? Like, do you think this is a fear-mongering tactic that might, I don't know, prevent more cross-border payments from people who are outside? Or
yes and no. I think we're going to see some weird land grabbing. Any country that's trying to do a CBDC is going to try to snuff out the flame of any competitive stablecoins. So.
And we do know that China is currently testing their retail CBDC. They enforce it in a whole city where everyone's getting paid in and must fully transact in a CBDC for retail usage, just for clarity.
Yeah. So I think that could be a big part of it. I think we'll see that in other jurisdictions too. It's not just China. I think we're going to see it in America at some point. It's going to come to a head where either we do a CBDC or we don't. And if we do, I think we're going to see a lot of pain for other stablecoins. They've more or less already said that algorithmic stablecoins currently aren't legal in the US. So that stuffs out a lot of the quasi small stablecoins. But then you've got USDT, USDC, and now EuroC, which is also done by Circle. And they're pretty big. Like they're getting pretty big market caps. They're getting a lot of utilization globally. It'll be interesting to see if there's a crackdown globally on stablecoins. I think there might be if a lot of countries are trying to do a CBDC for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. Market forces always prevail. They're not the best, and sometimes it takes some time, but natural market forces are always better than forced nonsense, in my opinion. But
absolutely.
Anyways,
Are you ready to talk about your favorite dude?
you know what? I almost had to like unbest friend him yesterday.
Oh no.
Well, yeah, because okay, I don't want to get too deep down the rabbit hole in this one, but
That's what we're here for.
so
It's Friday.
the whole reason for buying Twitter was to restore free speech in America.
Sure.
And whatever you believed about the government intervention and Twitter censorship and all of this nonsense, they put out quite a bit of evidence that said the government was censoring people via Twitter, and a bunch of other shit. Okay, so everybody's like rah rah Elon, and he's actually like done quite a few things. Like he's taken quite a few stands in the last 6 months that have said like, even if he disagrees with something, which he does in many cases, he believes that as long as it's not like meaningfully and directly putting someone in imminent physical danger, that it's not hate speech. It's it's people with different opinions. And like for all of human history, people with different opinions have been able to voice them, generally speaking. And currently you can't. It's
I don't know that that's true.
not entirely, but generally speaking, in well-functioning societies, I should say, there's been, generally speaking, there's public discourse around opinions and so on, especially in the West. Okay, maybe not in all societies.
All right.
Anyways, long story short, a movie came out a year ago yesterday called "What Is a Woman," and it's a bit of a pushback against the transgender thing. Anyways, my point here has nothing to do with the movie itself, although I think everybody should watch the movie because it is quite interesting. Even if you
it is interesting. I did watch it. It is interesting. I just don't know that this is the platform for the discussion.
Just hold on. Yeah, this might not be the platform for the discussion. But anyways, so long story short, they were going to do a 1-year anniversary release. Everybody on Twitter was going to get to watch the video for free if they wanted to. They were going to pay upwards beyond $500,000 for this advertising opportunity, which is good for Twitter, obviously, to show revenue. Anyways, at the 11th hour, literally yesterday morning, apparently, they said, no, just kidding. Not only are we not supporting the launch, but we're going to completely reduce its ability to be seen by anybody.
What? That's what Twitter said?
Yeah. So they went as far as saying, even if you post it, none of your followers will see it. So it's speech, not reach, was their argument. And then mysteriously, last night at like midnight, the person at the front of Trust and Safety resigned, and Elon reversed all the nonsense, and they got their video.
That was close. Jeez.
It was close. But I was really thinking, oh man, I totally thought, good for you, whether I agree with you or not, you're standing up against, the establishment and the woke media and so on. Do I think everybody needs to do it? No, but I do think there needs to be enough people that are on each side of these major debates so that there's places for people to go and have discussions and debate things and
also educate themselves and form their own opinions, right? Like
exactly.
Everyone can watch the movie and then have an opinion about it.
Yeah. And so anyways, we're still best friends, to sum up. All of that story to tell you that Elon is still my best friend. He just doesn't know who I am.
Well, unfortunately, you might have to visit him while he's in Martha Stewart jail. Insider trading. I think we all kind of saw this coming with Dogecoin. Like, I think we've talked about it before. Nobody's surprised, but I guess we'll see what happens.
I think it might be interesting if he's willing to take this to court, which he is, obviously. I feel like the vast majority of Elon's Dogecoin shenanigans were just trolling. I don't think he actually bought and sold Dogecoin as much as everybody thinks.
Yeah, but it still is a bad look.
It might be.
Right? This is on board with the anti-money laundering, the no crypto influencers in France, et cetera, et cetera. This is the same kind of vein of news.
Yeah. I like this because I think there's only, again, the same reason that I like Coinbase fighting the SEC. There's only so many people in the world that have the resources to be able to do it. Elon is one of them. His personal net worth last year went up $55 billion. Right. So an extra $10 billion on top of what he paid for Twitter.
Hopefully he can set some sort of precedent for us.
Maybe.
All right.
First trillionaire beyond Putin. Anyways.
Who do you really want to say FU to before we it's top of the hour. It's Friday. It's going into a sunshiny weekend probably. It's almost summer. Who's your big FU to this week?
Yeah, my big FU is to scammers. Honestly. Luckily I don't have any personal experiences recently with scammers, but there's a lot of nonsense going around right now. Like there's a fairly large amount of people that I know have been caught up in
Oh, yeah.
phishing scams and Discord scams, and front ends have been hijacked and people's social accounts have been hijacked. So F you to all those idiots putting all that effort into ruining other people's reputations.
I
Go
appreciate
get a
that for
job.
what it is.
Spend some effort. Spend that effort on anything useful, and I think you'll find that your yield, your reward is better. And then for everybody else, I think just be prudent. Like, I mean, none of us are immune.
Oh yeah.
No matter what.
On the topic of scams, as JD knows, I'm like the most gullible human alive. Every time I get a Telegram message, I have to like post it on our internal communication board and be like, "Is this real?" I cannot tell. I also did not. Yeah, I never moved. I never moved to Nigeria for my African prince, but I did used to get those emails too. And my point here is that, you know, especially in crypto, you never want to miss out on an opportunity. And we are pretty informal still, right? You still get Telegram messages from real web devs. You still get Telegram messages from your friends, or you get Telegram messages from people who have stolen JD's photo and name and so on and so forth. And then, you know, if you're not paying close enough attention, it's really easy to get scammed. And I thankfully have a community of people who help me not get scammed. What I'm saying here is that I hope you can also build a community like that for yourself, because they have saved me.
And honestly, open invitation to anybody that's watching this right now. I mean, if you're worried that something might be a scam, send us a note. Like,
yeah, just ask.
There's no guarantees that we can tell you whether it is or isn't, but at the very least, it's a sanity check, and be like, yeah, I'd think twice about that.
Exactly.
Send us a DM on Twitter or any of the platforms that you're watching this on, and we're happy to help you out.
We're not a rug doc, but
we are not a rug doc, but that's a very good reason for a rug doc to exist, is, you know, to help weed out some of these scams. I'm talking a little bit about different scams, but
I know, but I'm just saying. Yeah.
With that, we got you covered this weekend. So go Panthers, go tomorrow, but everybody else can go touch grass and do all that shit, or snow or whatever, wherever you live.
Whatever.
And we got you covered on Monday, just like every day, Monday to Friday, 12:30 Eastern, same place, all these different platforms, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch,
everywhere,
LinkedIn, Twitter Spaces.
And then I make a newsletter, Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify. I forgot about Spotify. We're on Spotify too. That's right. So anyways, same place. We're always here helping you out, helping you navigate these interesting times in crypto. And with that, I bid you all a great weekend. Kara, go find yourself.